China is buying the world's critical resources, and the dollar is paying the price. What if I told you that while most people are focused on elections, interest rates, and daily market noise, one of the biggest economic power shifts of our lifetime is happening almost completely unnoticed? No tanks, no dramatic headlines, no emergency summits, just quiet transactions, month after month, year after year. China is systematically buying the physical resources that modern civilization depends on. And in the process, the global financial system, especially the US dollar, is starting to feel the strain. This isn't speculation, it's not fear-mongering, and it's not a theory. It's documented behavior, backed by billions of dollars in real purchases happening right now across global commodity markets. And once you understand the strategy, you'll realize why this could reshape global power for decades to come. Most discussions about China focus on the same surface-level topics: trade wars, tariffs, technology bans, political tensions. But those are distractions from something far more important, because China's real strategy isn't about headlines, it's about foundations. While Western economies became obsessed with financial assets, stocks, bonds, derivatives, and digital money, China focused on something much more basic: control over physical reality, the metals, the minerals, the materials that everything else depends on. And here's the key idea you need to understand early. If you control the raw materials, you don't just participate in the global economy, you shape it. For decades, China was known as the world's factory: cheap labor, mass production, export dominance. But that model peaked years ago. China didn't stop evolving. It graduated. Instead of focusing only on manufacturing finished goods, it moved upstream, toward control of inputs, the ingredients every advanced industry requires. Today, China is positioning itself as the gatekeeper of industrial metals, strategic minerals, rare earth processing, battery materials, energy transition inputs. These aren't optional materials. They're mandatory. No copper, no electrical grids, no lithium or cobalt, no batteries, no rare earths, no advanced electronics, no EV motors, no defense systems. Modern technology does not exist without them. This strategy works because it's brutally simple. If you control materials, you control manufacturing. If you control manufacturing, you influence prices. If you influence prices, you influence economies. This isn't ideology, it's supply chains. China understands something many Western policymakers forgot. Financial systems are built on physical foundations. You can't print copper. You can't digitize lithium. You can't replace rare earths with software. Someone has to mine them, process them, store them, deliver them. And China is securing every step of that chain. Let's get specific. China is aggressively securing access to copper, the backbone of electrical infrastructure; lithium, essential for batteries and energy storage; cobalt, critical for battery stability and aerospace; nickel, vital for advanced alloys and EV cathodes; rare earth elements, magnets, electronics, defense systems; silver, semiconductors, solar, medical applications; platinum group metals, industrial catalysts and hydrogen technology. And this isn't opportunistic buying. It's coordinated. State-backed companies, long-term supply contracts, foreign mining investments, strategic stockpiles. China already controls the majority of global rare earth processing. Even when minerals are mined elsewhere, they often still pass through China. That's not accidental. That's strategic positioning. Now here's where this story becomes even more important. Every time China buys physical resources, it's doing something else at the same time. It's converting US dollars into real assets. Think about that. China accumulated enormous dollar reserves by exporting goods to the West for decades. Those dollars were claims on value, paper claims. Now China is steadily turning those claims into metals, minerals, energy materials, strategic inventory. This matters because currencies derive power from demand. When large players reduce their reliance on dollars, even gradually, that demand weakens. And when demand weakens, purchasing power erodes. This isn't a sudden collapse, it's a slow structural shift. And history shows that structural shifts matter far more than short-term market moves.
What makes this strategy especially powerful is how difficult it is to counter. Western systems operate on election cycles, quarterly earnings, short-term incentives. China operates on decade-long plans, resource security, strategic patience. While Western governments debate regulations and funding, China locks in supply. By the time responses are approved, the resources are already spoken for. This isn't about winning a single trade dispute. It's about shaping the environment where future industries are built. And whoever controls that environment holds leverage without firing a shot. So what does all of this mean? It means we're entering a world where physical resources matter more than financial engineering. Strategic materials gain value relative to paper assets. Supply security becomes a national priority. Currency dominance faces long-term pressure. This doesn't mean the dollar disappears. It means the rules that governed the last 50 years may not govern the next 50. Periods like this tend to be volatile, uncomfortable, and misunderstood while they're happening. But they also reward those who understand structure, not just headlines. China isn't buying the world's critical resources to make headlines. It's doing it to shape the future. By converting financial power into physical control, it's quietly building leverage that compounds over time. And as that happens, the global financial system, especially the dollar-centric one, begins to feel pressure from forces that interest rates alone can't fix. This isn't a moment, it's a process, and we're still early. If you found this analysis valuable, consider subscribing. I focus on the deep structural shifts that rarely make the news, but ultimately matter the most. And let me know in the comments, do you think control over resources will define the next era of global power? Because this story isn't ending. It's just getting started.